Hello everyone, how are you doing this week? Welcome back to the So-So School. My name is Andrew Santa Monica, but I go by Techdrew, executive producer and host of So-So Seminars, Socratic seminars with people roughly representing different areas of knowledge. The title of our discussion is Pondering Paradoxes. All Andrews have once again prepared their seminar outlines for our seminar. As I mentioned to all of you in my email yesterday, we have a special participant joining us to help us in our seminar. He is part of our staff at Unlimited, who is so heavily invested in systems thinking that he has a systems ebook called Emergent Nested Systems by Christian Wallace. He goes by the name Abstractdrew. Hello Abstractdrew, how are you doing? Wonderful. In the duration of this particular seminar, I will be asking follow-up questions that will test your thinking. The Raven Paradox, Simpson's Paradox, Paradox of Suspense, Bootstrap Paradox, Paradox of the Heap, and Paradox of Enrichment. I asked the four of me to choose one. And I'm curious, what paradox did you choose, and what does it mean to you? I chose the Raven Paradox by Carl G. Hempel. So it goes like this. Statement 1. All ravens are black. Contrapositive of Statement 1. If something's not black, it's not a raven. Statement 2. I have a black pet raven. Supports Statement 1. Statement 3. This apple is not black, and it is not a raven. Supports contrapositive of Statement 1. I think it means that we wouldn't really have something that supports the contrapositive of a statement to support that same statement. Also, the colors of apples don't really support the colors of ravens. It is just a non-black, non-raven. Apples and ravens are two separate things that have no influence. Apples are not ravens. It doesn't mean that ravens can't eat apples, right? I actually didn't do my research on this. I was actually focusing on the big fin squid earlier this week. Wait. Doesn't a non-black raven prove both all ravens are black and no ravens are black? Since an apple is not in the set of ravens, it does not prove nor disprove that all ravens are black. It does not prove nor disprove that no ravens are black. It can be one or the other. I'm going to replay the video for that one, Techdrew and bibliography. You both are confusing. So I chose the paradox of enrichment. The large amount of supply for prey would eventually crash or kill off an entire species. Akin to models in differential calculus, modeling population growth, the unhesitant increase of a species' carrying capacity, known as enrichment, would turn out to be the cause of their extinction on either side. What was once the system of predator and prey cascades into something that would never be the same again. I look at a lot of design, and ecology is no exception. How can something as complex as a food web be stabilized to sustain an entire population? There are exceptions. It makes the food web become a food nexus. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, the system would often change, and there are strats that organisms use, like induced defenses, prey being able to defend itself in response of others, which would likely maintain equilibrium in the prey-predator system. I was also thinking about that, except in the obscure context of nanobot ecosystems in a nanobot reserve. Just kidding. It reminds me of sampling error and how chance events can disrupt a sense of equilibrium. I chose the bootstrap paradox. There exists some object X with no traceable origin due to the fact that event A makes event B, and it makes event A through time travel, which makes event B in the future, which makes event A through time travel, ad infinitum. Here's an example. After learning about a formula in school, I time traveled to talk to a student about the formula. The student publishes the formula worldwide. That formula was taught in my school. It was the one that I talked to the student about after traveling to the past. Something else is bothering me. The student should still have to give you credit for the formula to have full credit. The formula did not come from me because I learned about it in school. The formula did not come from the student because the professor heard it from me. See? But you were the one who told the student. The formula did not come from me because I learned about it in school. But you were the one who told the student. Ha 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 ha. I have a question for you. What are your thoughts of combining the many worlds interpretation with the bootstrap paradox? What if, in your example, you told the same student but in a different world? What does it imply? I don't know. Okay. I chose the paradox of suspense, brought about by Noel, Carroll, and others, viewing a work again and still feeling suspense. A solution is found here in The Paradox of Suspense by Juan A. Puerto Pablos, where in section 3, the author analyzes Carroll's approach. Carroll's solution is all about the audience's denial of events and imagination of other outcomes. So even if you absolutely know something, like terrible, happens in a movie, you are in a mental state where you do not want it to happen. However, Robert J. Yanal denies this claim, talking about how there is less suspense after reviewing works. It's not the suspense that one had during the first viewing. The paper mentions a lot of responses and the value of uncertainty, and concludes with the consideration of the responses of suspense when it comes to solving this paradox. For me, it means that this paradox emphasizes behavior from works, especially from one set of or system of beliefs. It is still largely debatable whether or not the feeling of suspense needs uncertainty. If it needs uncertainty, then if you know, there is no uncertainty, hence no suspense. If no uncertainty is needed, you would be in suspense regardless of how often one views the work. Wow. I look at how that's shown in the media all the time. I can relate to all the various work you're doing. So, nice. I like that. Interesting. I am a bit surprised as to what you chose. I thought you all would choose something a bit more related to your area of knowledge. No? You see what I did there? I don't know what that paradox is called, but if you can find out, just let me know. Second question. What can you learn from paradoxes? The things we see every now and then become very interesting. What was originally something that looks so simple actually becomes an image of incorrectly correct. And it works. Given a lot of management, tritones can work. Dissonance can work. It's beautiful when we get to see the bigger picture of contrast. I love this. I had something similar. For me, it goes to show that it's okay for paradoxes to occur, not only for the sake of art, how art imitates life, but also how reality continues. Once we've seen a pattern, there's something that breaks it. After discovering another example, there's a gamut of counterexamples. That's life right there. Paradoxes help us encourage people to learn more about life because there is something totally different from what is expected. It adds an interest. With that interest, people are motivated to break down what it is, why it is paradoxical, and most importantly, why it matters and what it implies. So, paradoxes can be that stepping stone for learning? I want to add that sometimes that a lot of logical fallacies may also add an entirely new branch of thinking. Our understanding of the world came about from a series of searching for what makes sense. If observations don't line up with our hypotheses, then we modify our findings. Notice how a lot of discoveries came from accidents or discrepancies. That's another paradox right there. I see. The technology paradox you mentioned is quite nice conceptually. Instead of asking how that paradox is like eating big and small foods, I have a question, everyone. What are some ways a paradox is considered to be solved? Questions posed in the paradox would be solved. It doesn't mean it is the solution to the paradox. It could be a solution. In the end, we just don't have the technology or aptitude to carry a hypothetically crisp answer that solves a paradox. In other words, we can't solve it with what we got. But of course, there would be a Y or N waiting to be uncovered within the set of possible solutions. There are just popular answers among different scholarly fields that create closure. That's amazing. Thank you! You all did really well. I just added negligible bonus points for your combined effort today in discussing a timeless topic. Next time, we will talk about another timeless topic, quality. Just two main questions. What would you consider to be high quality? Low quality? Describe a high quality experience in your life. Remember, you can always come up with your own questions to use in our seminar. Now is the time to give some shoutouts. Shout out to a paradox, the direct delta functional. Shout out to the paradox where more time means less productivity. Many people like Logan say that Techdrew seems very tired from editing, so I made a deadline. Thank you. Right, thank you for your time today. See you later. Bye. See you in our next class. Bye. Viewers, please consider commenting to speed up the grading process for the last two So-So seminars. Remember the rubric from the first episode, so you will be able to grade these seminars in a way that is in accordance to the So-So school standards. That's about it. Bye.